The first thing you most likely did when trying to build muscle for the first time is start researching about different workouts that can help you build muscle. If you're one of the smart ones, then you most likely started researching about nutrition and diet and how that's going to affect you building muscle as well. But one of the things we don't talk about as much is how important sleep is for building muscle. Sleep is one of the most overlooked things and arguably is more important for building muscle than the other two. In the modern world in which we live, we're all more busy than we ever have been before. We have more schoolwork, we have more work to do at our jobs, we have more social events, more fun things to do, more distractions, things like mobile phones. We have all of those things crammed into our day. Often in the evening times, people like to switch on Netflix and watch one of their favourite shows, but that one episode and bed by 10:30 always tends to turn into bed by midnight, and that causes you to have suboptimal sleep. I'm going to talk about why, if you're not getting enough sleep, that can cause you to gain more fat or lose less fat and also build less muscle or even lose muscle. Also, don't forget to stick around until the end because I'm going to tell you the optimal amount of sleep that you need to get each night, and I'm also going to tell you a little extra tip and tactic that's going to help make sure you stick to getting that amount of sleep per night. I want to make this simple and just give you a little background first. So when we start working out in the gym, we do that to build more muscle. We think that lifting weights is helping you build more muscle, and it is, but not necessarily in the way that you think. So when you actually are in the gym, you're not building muscle. In fact, you're breaking muscle down. When you put stress on a muscle and you give that muscle resistance, you cause little micro tears in that muscle. So you're basically tearing the muscles down. It's only when you sleep that those muscles get a chance to regrow back bigger and stronger. The bottom line is if you don't get enough sleep, you won't recover from those workouts and you will not build muscle from the workouts that you're doing. I'm going to talk about hormones. So with optimal sleep comes optimal hormone levels, and one of those hormones is testosterone. Testosterone is one of the most important hormones, if not the most important hormone for building muscle. So if you have less sleep, you have lower testosterone levels, meaning you're not going to build as much muscle, and in some cases you won't build any muscle. It's the same reason that men have far more potential to build muscle than women do. It's because we have a lot of testosterone and women almost have no testosterone. They have a very small amount of testosterone. So if you have lower testosterone levels, you have the less potential for building muscle. You have to remember that hundreds of years ago, sleep was never an issue. People just slept because we were less busy in those times. It was hunt for food and sleep. It was really that simple. That's what life was. Whereas now, we struggle with sleep. And if you get suboptimal sleep, one of the things that's going to happen hormonally is you will have an increase in cortisol, which is your stress hormone. The problem with higher cortisol levels and more stress in the body is not just inflammation and things like that, but also cortisol is a catabolic hormone, which basically means it breaks down muscle tissue. So not only will you have less potential to build muscle, you'll also have more chance that you're breaking down muscle tissue. Another hormone is ghrelin, and ghrelin is basically your hunger hormone. So if you have less sleep, you don't have optimal sleep, your ghrelin levels increase, which makes you more hungry, which means if you're trying to lose body fat or trying to keep the weight off, then you're going to have more chance of gaining weight or less chance of losing body fat if you don't have enough sleep. If you're liking this video so far, then please do me a favour and just click the little like button. It just takes a second, it really helps the video out and it helps me out. Before we get into the bonus tip a little later, I just want to go a little deeper into talking about getting optimal sleep. So the first one I want to talk about is performance in the gym. If you feel less tired, you're going to be less interested in your workout. And lifting weights and building muscle is not just about lifting the weight from A to B, just lifting up and down, up and down. To get a really good workout and to build muscle, you actually have to concentrate and be focused. You really have to feel that muscle, and the less sleep you have, the less interested, the more tired you're going to be. Not to mention you're going to get tired and fatigued quicker during your workout, and it's going to make you less consistent. Another thing that not many people talk about that I really want to hit home with you is that if you get less sleep or you don't get enough sleep, one of the big things that can happen is injuries, and a lot of young guys, including myself, don't take injuries seriously. We think we're going to feel brilliant in our 50s and 60s. But if you don't take injuries when you're weight training seriously, then it can cause a lot of problems later down the road. When you have less sleep, you're more susceptible to getting injuries, picking injuries up. things like little micro tears. And also studies do show that if you actually are sleep deprived, it's more dangerous than being behind the wheel of a car than it is if you're drunk. That's how serious being sleep deprived is. Of course, that leads back into injuries again, because the more complacent you are, the less focused are, the more chance you have of getting injured. I can tell you from my personal experience, I'm a busy guy, I've got a lot of goals and things like that, but when I've had days where I only have 4 hours sleep, let's say, I definitely feel it. I'm less happy, I have more brain fog, I find it more difficult to solve problems, you have more stress, your workouts suffer as a result of it, you feel like you're not really making as much progress. All of those things just through having 2 hours less sleep than you should have had. A lot of people are always looking for the one tip or the one trick, but the best superpower that you can really give yourself is to make sure you get enough sleep. As I promised, I want to talk about the bonus tip now and help you out with that. But if you forgot to like the video before, then just press that little like button. It really does help out and it just takes a second. So for the bonus tip, the optimal amount of sleep that you should have each night is 8 to 9 hours. That's the absolute best. Now, typically I recommend 7 to 9 hours, but I'm just telling you the absolute best. If you have free time to get more sleep, then do it. For me, I get around 7 hours per night. I like to get 8 hours if I can. I feel really good on 7 hours. However, it's when you start to go below that 7-hour mark that people start to experience these issues. Also, I really want to over deliver with this bonus tip. One of the best tactics that you can use to make sure you hit your sleep is this. So let's say, for example, you have to wake up at 6 a.m. You getting optimal sleep starts hours before you actually go to bed. So what you need to do is set a commitment, a cut-off point to where whatever you're doing, you stop doing. So for example, let's say you need to be up at 6 a.m. So for you to get 8 hours sleep, you need to be asleep by 10 p.m. So at 8:30, whatever you're doing, cut off, stop doing what you're doing and start getting ready for bed. Maybe you eat your last meal, maybe you take a shower, whatever you like to do before bed. And let's say you're in bed for 9 p.m, you watch your 1 hour of Netflix or whatever you like to do, and then you know as soon as it gets to around 10 o'clock, that sort of time, you're going to be ready to go to sleep. That way you can't fail. If you just act at random and just decide to let the evening take you wherever it does, that's when you start to miss sleep. When you have a cut-off point in your own head that you have to keep yourself accountable for, and you cut off at that time, you know you're always going to get the optimal amount of sleep. The next video that you're going to want to watch is actually a video on the best muscle building foods for you to eat. So you know about your sleep, and you can go and watch this video. I'm going to link it on the screen right now, so you can click through and watch the best muscle building foods to eat. I'm also going to link on the screen the best 4 muscle building exercises that you need. So now you have your sleep, your nutrition, and your training as well. Those 3 things are going to help you build a better physique.